I want to adjust something other than saturation, like hue, I'm going to have to hold down a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to hold down the Command key on a Mac, and I'm going to click on this yellow area. On Windows, that would be the Control key. And now when I click on the yellow area and I drag, it's not going to be changing saturation anymore. It's going to be changing the hue or basic color of that area. And I can move it all around wherever I'd like. So let me do this in more of a practical way. I'll get rid of this adjustment layer by dragging it to the trash, and I will create a new one just to start fresh. If I click the hand icon, now I can move into my picture, and let's see. I want my blues to become more colorful, so I'll click and drag to the right. And then I don't like the exact shade of blue, so I hold down the Command key, Control on Windows, and now I can fine-tune that shade of blue. That could be a blue sky that's looking too cyan, and I want it to be more of a pure blue. Then I can come in here to my oranges, and I can make them more saturated or less, depending on what I think they need. I can hold on the Command key then and fine-tune the exact shade of orange we have in there. And then I can see if I can get into the reds. I don't know if it's going to separate reds from oranges, though. They're so similar. And I can fine-tune the color as well. And it's a very nice way to very quickly be able to do those things. So I use hue and saturation all the time to fine-tune colors. But what I've shown you so far is overly simplistic. It doesn't really show you the power that's in there, because right now it's very generically isolating the blues and the reds, the yellows, and all that. Let's see if I can find a different image where we might be able to isolate things a little better and just get a little more control. This image, I could probably still go with the basic adjustments on it, but let's see what happens. If I open image, we'll get fancy even though we might not need to, just because we need to learn how to isolate things. So I'm going to do a hue and saturation adjustment layer. I'm going to grab the little hand tool, and I'm going to click on whatever color it is I'd like to adjust. Let's say I'm going for the green grass that's here. I click, and it thinks that the green grass is actually more yellow than it is green because it changed the menu to yellows. And sometimes that is the case. It's just you're not used to seeing dark yellows, which is often what green grass ends up being. But keep an eye right down here at the bottom of hue and saturation. When I clicked on the picture, it put in these little bars that were in there. And let me see if I can choose undo to get rid of them. Yeah, usually there's nothing down there at the bottom. If I zoom out, whoops, suppose I need my adjustment. Okay, see there's bars down here, but there's no like little tick marks and other things in between them. But the moment I grab that hand and click on something, watch what happens right in there. Now you see what showed up. So what's happening is it's only able to change what is above those bars now. There are actually two different shades of those bars. The middle section is lighter in color, or in tonality I should say, than the outer. That middle section is where it's going to get the full force of my adjustment. Those outer sections is where it's going to fade out. And so it blends in with the surroundings. And we can control that. You can actually move your mouse in here, and if you click in the middle of the bar that's there, you can move this as a whole around to put it above or below different colors that are in your image. You can grab one of those end little handles and expand this out to say work on a wider range of colors or work on a narrower range of colors. Then you can say fade out across a narrow region or a really wide region, and you can fine tune them. And I want to show you how to kind of use those. So let's see what we can do with them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to be able to just visually see what part of the image has been isolated, because I can't tell right now. In order to see that, I'm just going to make a radical change to any one of these sliders. And what I'm going to do for now is just bring my saturation all the way down so that the area that's being affected is going black and white. And right now, I don't know about you, I didn't notice any area go black and white. So that means this isn't sitting next to any of the colors within the picture. If I move it around though, remember that it thought the grass was more yellow than it was green. If I move it over far enough, it might start making the green grass black and white. So here's how I really work with this. First, I either click on my picture or I choose from this menu to get those things to show up. Then I slam them together. That way it's going to work on the narrowest range that it can. So do you see they're touching each other? Then we have 3 eyedroppers down here, and that's where it gives us all the power. The eyedropper on the left is going to center these bars over whatever I click on. So I'm going to click on the green grass, and watch what happens to these little bars. It's going to pop over to wherever it thinks that color is. And I can click on different areas, and I'll do it until I think the green grass is starting to change a little bit. Then we don't have enough of the green grass changing, so I'm going to grab the eyedropper with the plus sign on it. What that eyedropper does is it expands these bars. By expanding them, it means work on more colors, a wider range. So I grab the eyedropper with the plus sign on it, and I click on more green grass, any part of the green grass that hasn't turned black and white yet. All right? And I can continue doing that in various areas until all the grass turns black and white. And the black and white effect is only to show me what part of the image have I isolated. I don't really want black and white grass. After I've done that, where I've clicked on it with the plus eyedropper on all the green stuff until all the green grass turns black and white, then I look at the transition of where that black and white effect ends and where it bumps into other things. And I say, does it look abrupt or does it look semi-natural? If it looks abrupt and I need it to blend in with its surroundings, that's when I'll come in and I'll pull out these end little doodads, the fade out region. I'll grab those. And I'll just pull them out a little bit to say blend into the surroundings on either side until it looks natural. Now sometimes it's not able to isolate things precisely because it thinks of the green grass as dark yellow. Well, the top of this Jeep was bright yellow. And so they're the same basic hue or basic color, and so it won't be able to separate those two. But that's okay. We can paint with black on the mask afterwards very easily over that part of the Jeep to prevent it from changing. So once I've gotten that isolated, I bring my saturation back to the middle just by typing in 0 after I've highlighted that number. And now I can make any change I want to the grass. I can change the basic hue of the grass. Maybe I want it more of a pure green, but after I make it more pure green, I find it's too colorful. So I bring down the saturation on it until it looks appropriate, because maybe I want my grass to look a little different. There's an eyeball icon at the bottom of your adjustment panel. That shows you before and after. And so I can see how it's affecting the image. And then, as with any adjustment layer, if it's affecting an area that it shouldn't, like the top of the Jeep, I can grab my paintbrush tool, paint with black, because black takes away the adjustment, and I can just say, hey, don't affect this thing. And I only have to be careful where I'd bump into green grass. I can paint upward on this stuff, who cares? There's no green grass in there that I'm trying to adjust. So I can get it off of the yellow parts of the Jeep. Then I can continue to fine tune it. I can come in here, maybe make it more colorful, maybe make it a little bit brighter. Whatever. I'm not saying this is improving this particular image. I just needed a picture to play with. But if I turn on and off the eyeball, you can see that I'm isolating the green grass. Okay? So let's see if we can try that on a different image. In fact, I think I'm going to try to find those guys from Russia. Let's see if we can isolate sunburnt skin from normal skin, because that can be useful, because they're not as sunburnt down on their necks and things. And so I'm going to open this image. Just bring out some shadow detail. Okay, open. And let's do hue and saturation. And then I'm either going to choose a color from this menu or use that little hand tool to click on my image. Either way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color I choose either, because I'm going to manually move these around, and that's going to change. So in fact, right now it says yellows. When I slam these together, it's going to change to whatever they're closest to right now, wherever I left them. So anyway, I slam them together just so I can be the most precise. I can only get the range I want instead of generically grabbing all the reds or something. After I've slammed them together is when I go to the 3 eyedroppers. starting with the eyedropper on the left, and I click on the basic color I want, click, and it centers those sliders on that color. Then to see if I've isolated enough, I move one of these sliders a radical amount. I'm just going to take saturation and bring it all the way down. And I'm looking at the image now saying, are all the sunburnt areas black and white or not? If they're not, I grab the eyedropper with the plus sign on it. And I click on other sunburnt areas, like right up here on his cheek. I might want to get his ear and other things. And it's expanding the range in between those two little slider bars to say work on a wider and wider range. I don't remember if this area here was sunburnt or if that was normal. If you remember it being sunburnt, click on it. If it's normal, unsunburnt skin, don't click on it because I'm trying to isolate the sunburn. I should have inspected the image a little bit closer. Then, if I want to get a good transition between that area and its surrounding colors, I'm going to pull out the outer parts of those slider bars. And I just look at what's the surrounding color. Is it closer to being what's on the right side of this, which would be yellowish oranges, or is it closer to what's on the left side, which is more of a pinkish orange? I would say it's more the yellowish orange in the surroundings. So I'm going to pull out the right side. See if I can get a good transition there. Then I'm going to bring my saturation back to the middle, but selecting it, type it in 0, and now I have these three choices of what I can do. I think that the basic color of their skin, which is the hue of their skin, is too red. So I'm going to move it one direction, which makes it worse, and then the other direction, which makes it a little better. Okay. Then I think their skin might have been a little dark, because when you get sunburnt, it darkens, so I might brighten it up a little bit by bringing up my lightness. And then I can decide, do I need more color in the skin or less? And let's see what I've done to the skin. I'm just going to turn off the eyeball. Okay? Before, after. You see that we're getting less sunburn? And if it's not a big enough correction, you just got to move the sliders further. Maybe I need to lighten them even more, make it even less colorful, and maybe even shift the hue a little further, more towards yellow. There. And let's see what we're getting. See the big change in their skin? If something changes that shouldn't, then you know you can paint with black, so just grab your paintbrush. And what might change here is the color of sunburn is very similar to the color of lips. And so their lips might have gotten less colorful. Imagine I zoomed in and I'm being precise. I can come over here and say, get it off of their lips, wherever I can see the lips. Here I'm not being precise, so it'll look like lipstick on a drunk person, you know. So anyway, that's how I'd end up doing that. So the combination of using curves and hue and saturation, those two tools are what I use the most on my images. And tomorrow, when we start the day, I'll end up somewhat summarizing what we did today, and afterwards I'll open some complex images where I might have dozens of adjustments in it. We'll go through each one of the adjustments to see exactly what we're doing. We'll look at each one of the masks to see exactly what I was isolating. And you'll see how I apply this in much more complex and high-end images where it's not me being sloppy painting. It's me being very precise painting, very precise with my adjustments, so you can really see what it's truly capable of once you're comfortable with it. But those are the two most popular adjustments for my images: curves and hue and saturation. So anyway, I thought we would segue into some questions. So make sure we get those done before the end of the day. You got any from the interwebs?
Well, let's see. Do we start
any from in here while we're waiting for those?
Everyone's brains are full and fried.
Well, we can start to try it.
This will take a little practice on this part here before you get the hang of it, but it's great when you do.
We can ask questions, and you guys can think about questions you want to ask if you'd like. Okay, we're going to go back, not just what we just covered, but kind of do an end of day Q&A. That's okay with you? All right, Trish297 said, I was told if you use adjustments from the top bar and not below the layers panel, they are destructive. Is that true?
Say that again.
Okay. I was told if you use adjustments from the top bar and not below the layers panel, they are destructive. Is that true?
Well, what I would say is going to the image menu and choosing adjustments. If that's what you mean by the top bar, then you could call them destructive. Destructive isn't the best word for it. you could say they're not easily undoable. Because if you make your entire picture black, you destroyed the detail there regardless of how you did it. You know, so that's kind of destructive. Some people use different terms for that. But if you go to the image menu and choose adjustments to get to your adjustment, what you're doing is more or less permanent, and some people will call it destructive. If, on the other hand, you go to the bottom of the layers panel to get to your adjustment layer, that half black and half white circle, or you go to the panel called adjustments where you have all the icons, those aren't destructive, you could say. They're not permanent. You can always undo them or turn them off or anything like that, and that's my preferred way of working. So I don't know if I understand exactly the question, but hopefully that somewhat answers it.
I think it did. Thank you.
And RHA is asking about the colorize option in the hue saturation, and just asking about it.
Okay, the colorize option would be good if I had a black and white photograph, which I will have here in a moment. All right, if I have a black and white picture, then I want to add color to it. The first thing I would need to do would be to go to the image menu, to choose mode and get out of grayscale mode, because you can't have color when you're in grayscale. And then next I would go here to RGB. When I'm in RGB mode, I can have color. I would then possibly select an area. Imagine I was more precise than this, but I'm using a mouse, not a graphics tablet, so I will be messy with it. I'll go then to the bottom of my layers palette and create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. And the hue slider won't do anything because the hue slider can only change the basic color of something that already has color. The saturation slider won't do anything at all because it doesn't know what color should be in there. There's no color data in the file yet, so it can't do anything. The lightness slider, sure, it can brighten, it can darken, but we need to have some color in there to begin with. So if I turn on the colorize checkbox, it will force color into the image. It'll start with red, and then I can move the hue slider to determine what color is being put in. And there, and then I can control how colorful with the saturation slider. Oftentimes it's easier to pick the general color if you have saturation turned up to begin with, so you can get close to right and then bring your saturation down. And I wouldn't touch lightness. But that's one method you can use for colorizing a picture. I'll give you a super bonus tip. If you want it to look at all natural, I mean at all, do the following. After you add the color, go to the bottom of your layers panel where you find the letters FX. Click on it. The top choice is called blending options. It'll bring up this really complex dialog box. So what I did is I clicked on the letters FX at the bottom of my layers panel, and I chose the top choice in the menu, which was called blending options. That's what brought this up. Then what we need to do is make sure that your colorizing does not affect the shadows as much as it does the highlights. Because if you look at a normal photograph and you look at the dark part of the picture, you'll find there's nowhere near as much color as in the bright part. But when you do colorize, it gets an equal amount everywhere. So what you need to do is take the part called this layer, and there's a slider on the left side. That slider is actually two sliders stuck together. Do you see the little line separating the two halves? Mm-hmm. To separate it, you have to hold down the Option key. Told you this is double special here. And hold down the Option key and just pull it out like that. When you separate those out, I can make it so this will not affect the shadows as much. What this is doing is it says do not whatsoever affect things that are in this brightness range right here. Only apply to the things in this brightness range over here, and then slowly fade out across this range here. So it's not an abrupt ending of your colorizing, it's slowly fading into the dark stuff. So if you do enough of that, you can get it where, I don't know the exact ones, I'd have to play with it, where it's going to look much more natural. I don't know if you'll be able to see it here. I'll turn preview off. Before, after, might need to zoom up. Have to pick a slightly better color. But before, look at how much color was in the shadowy part in here. Makes it look very unnatural. after, you get a lot less color in that shadowy part, and it's going to look much more realistic. So the colorize checkbox in hue and saturation is for adding color to things that didn't have it to begin with. Be careful though, because if you add color to something that didn't have it, it might not look natural, and you'll have to go to the letters FX, choose blending options, and mess with this to limit where the color's being added.
Great.
Complex enough question or answer?
Okay, next question from Lay W Photo. When you're
Yeah.
using the hand tool and hovering over something, is there a keystroke to anchor the dots in the range on the curves?
Just click.
Okay.
If you have the hand tool on, you don't have to hold down anything, just click. If you have an old version of Photoshop, in some versions you have to hold down the command key and click to add a dot. But if you're in, I think, CS5 or CS6, all you do is click. So if you hover over the image, you see a circle. If you click, you get a dot.
Okay. Keystroke would just be extra work at that
Yeah.
point. Okay.
So, Love My Pics said when you were working on the yellow Jeep earlier,
Yeah.
and she said, I can use this on babies now. I'm jumping up and down. I've been looking for this answer for over a year.
Sunburn, it works great, all that stuff.
So that is what then her question is, if you would have a lot of the same color hue situations like sunburns, pink, red baby skin, can you make an action, is her question.
I
Maybe if
wouldn't
it's-
quite do an action, because the problem is, well, although you could do if you did about 6 or 7 actions, it might work. Everybody's sunburn is different. It's different brightness, slightly different shade, and all that. So one action is not going to be able to isolate really precisely the sunburn.
I wonder if she meant if it was a series, like a photo shoot of
If
one
it's
baby.
if it's a series, you wouldn't actually need an action. All you'd need to do is, let's say I had more than one image open here. If I just open another one, I don't have a similar image, so I'm just going to open anything. But all you would need to do is, if you have one image that has an adjustment you want to apply to others, here's what you do. Check it out. I click on the name of that layer. And with the name of the layer clicked on, I drag to the tab for the other document. It should, why is it not? It should usually come to the front. I don't know if they changed something in CS6 that I didn't realize, but before, that would come to the front. Then I can drag it on top of that document and let go, and it would apply it to that other image. I'm not sure why it's not happening right now to let me switch between these two. It might be that there are different color spaces or something else. But usually you can drag an adjustment or something else to the other layer. It'll come to the front. You drag it on top of that image once it comes to the front, and it would apply. Because the destination documents are the same. No, they're not. This is the destination. This is the source. If you think they're the same, we should have ended the day earlier. No? So anyway, I don't know why it's not letting me go between them.
Can you just do the right-click method?
Say again?
Can you just use the right-click method? Right-click on your layer, duplicate layer, and choose the path of where you want it to go?
I don't know that it's going to let me. Well, what I could do, is I could come down here, right-click, duplicate layer. Why is it not in there? Yeah, right-click. I had to right-click on the name. I did it somewhere else. If you choose duplicate layer, there is a pop-up menu here that says, what's your destination document? You can set it to the name of the other document. Click OK. And if you get a warning, don't worry about it. And then that would have copied it over here for me. Great tip there. So yes, I could do that. And so you should be able to just drag it over. I'm not sure why it's working, but otherwise, right-click on the layer, choose duplicate layer, and then choose the name of the other document here. You can do that as many times as you want to get it on other documents. And if all the images are similar, you could do an action then.
Okay, any questions? You guys are good. Okay. Birth Express would like to know, adjusting with curves to recover areas in Photoshop, will that create more noise in that area adjusted?
It doesn't create noise, but it can reveal noise that was already there. Just makes it easier to see. Just like if I pull out detail in the table that I'm sitting at right here. If I look at the table, I can barely see wood grain in here, but there is some. In curves, I could make it steeper for this, and I would be able to see that wood grain. If I do the same thing to a dark part of an image, I'm making it easier to see the noise, that was already there. But it didn't introduce the noise. It just revealed what was already there. Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end of today, and I'm just wondering if there's kind of one thing that you think people should take away from today.
Bacon!
Bam.
Oh, sorry. It's not my whiteboard. I snuck in something. One thing they should take away from today.
Like, what is the basic thing that you use the most? I mean, there's so many things today.
Well, the things were,
Maybe summary.
instead of trying to learn absolutely everything, I would think about trying to figure out what the most important things are and concentrate on those and ignore the other stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do in this class. And that's why, in general, we didn't use brightness and contrast in anything. We didn't use levels on anything. We didn't use a lot of stuff. Instead, I just distilled it down to what I think is the most important. The problem is, if you're not an advanced user in Photoshop, you probably don't know what those things are. So instead, Photoshop can just be an overwhelming collection of stuff, and it's hard to figure out what to go to. And so that's why I'm narrowing it down to, we're using curves and hue and saturation, and we're using camera raw and things where it's what I use on 100% of the images I open. And yeah.
I mean, the dimmer switch alone and the inverted line,
Yeah.
to me, golden. Gold. Okay, so Ben, what are we going to be doing tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow? We're going to do some retouching tomorrow, and I'll show you how to deal with things like getting rid of telephone poles, telephone lines. Even if your telephone line goes right through a tree and you need to get rid of it, how do you deal with that? I'll show you how to do really complex to really simple retouching. Then I'll talk about how to use what we've already talked about to try to influence where somebody looks in your photo. Because I found that when I show photos to other people and I see where they're looking and what they're talking about, oftentimes it's completely different than what I really thought they would look at. And so I had to come up with ways to influence where they looked within my image so I can get them to look where I wanted them to. And so that has to do with selectively brightening and darkening your pictures, maybe not sharpening the entire picture, but doing that selectively. And the same thing with color adjustments, because your eye can't help but look at vivid colors. So you better make sure that there's not an area that is a distraction that's colorful. And so we'll think about all those. And then continue on, maybe start doing some talking about technical junk you don't really want to know, but you have to, that kind of stuff.
Great. Well, I'm so impressed with your teaching style. I'm so impressed with today, and it's just been amazing. I'm really looking forward to the next 2 days.
Cool.
So I think you deserve a huge round of applause.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And I do want to send out a little special shout out to our friend Lisa Snyder, who was the one after having dinner with you in Colorado.
Yep.
She sent us an email and said, Ben is an incredibly gifted instructor and I cannot recommend him enough. I consider him a mentor as I used to read all of his books before I began teaching myself. I first met him when I introduced him at Photoshop World when I was a moderator.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still get a little nervous around him because he's such a hero.
Yeah.
So that was
awesome.
back in July or so, early July, end of June. And once again, teacher's teacher. That's an incredible person to learn from. So thank you, Lisa, for hooking us up.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't know about you guys necessarily, Yeah.
Awesome.
Master teacher. Okay, I'm going to read you some more quotes, Ben. Let's see. Jennifer DeFranco said, I have always dreaded trying to work in Photoshop. Now I can't wait to start editing my images. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope Lejeune Myers said, I am loving this. It's almost midnight in Belgium, and I should be going to bed, but I just have to watch. And then Jorn Bo Bronden says, simply great. I have seen a lot of tutorials on Photoshop, and Ben's teaching about curves has rocked my world. Thanks, Ben.
Cool.
So, very cool. All right, and also just a quick reminder that Roberto Valenzuela videos are due midnight tonight. So bring those videos on. We would love to see those.
Yeah, we challenged people to get some done today during the day. No one.
Yeah, we need to see those videos, folks. You guys are running out of time. This is going to be an amazing workshop. Let's see the videos.
Awesome. So 8 hours. So another thing, another quote that this photo daddy said earlier was, $79 is an amazing deal for all of this information. I've been looking this stuff up online forever, but nothing has been presented so completely and so well. And I think that's really the beauty of Creative Live, is that, sure, the Photoshop information abounds online. There are who knows how many Photoshop videos on YouTube out there, but the ability to have them all organized, taught by a master instructor in one place, is exactly what this photo, for $79, is what Photo Daddy is saying, and is what Creative Live is all about. There's also a comment that, you know, here we are, we show you the information first, we show you how amazing Ben is first, and then you get to choose whether you want to buy the course or not. So the choice is yours. It's $79 right now. That includes over 50 actions from Ben's action pack that is not available anywhere else. That's already up there on the course page for you to download when you purchase the class. So I recommend you go do that now, and there's no reason to wait, because you might as well just check it off your list. So with that, we have 2 more days of Ben Wilmore, and then another day on Saturday with light painting. And so we will see you back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. We'll see you then.
Hi everybody, I am Roberto Valenzuela, and I am broadcasting to you from the beautiful island of Kauai, Hawaii. Like you and like everyone else, I had to photograph weddings at less than ideal locations. I remember going outside and just drawing a complete blank about where I was going to take the bride and groom. I wrote a book called Picture Perfect Practice, which is the strategies that I used in order to solve this problem that was just ongoing at every job. I am coming to you in Seattle, Washington for Creative Live, September 6, 7, and 8. And I am looking for a live audience, 6 to 12 people. I need a video from you on YouTube, Vimeo. You can record it on any device you want. It does not have to be fancy. Telling me about your work ethic, telling me about why you want to be a member of my class. To get that video to me, you need to send it to @RobertoPhoto, @CreativeLive, #RobertoLive. I'm going to be talking not only about how to break down locations and how to make it in a way that makes sense to you no matter where you are, no matter what part of the country or what part of the world you're in. And I'm going to also add on how to really get down to simplifying posing to just make them flawless, effortless, seamless, beautiful, and elegant. If you're interested in that, come join me in Creative Live, September 6, 7, and 8. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in September in Seattle. Take care, bye.
Hi, I'm Ben Wilmore, and I want to invite you to a free online class that I'll be giving on August 25th on light painting. I consider light painting to be one of the most creative photography outlets that are there. This is where you start off with a dark scene. You set up your camera on a tripod, and during a long exposure, you walk in and light the scene using a household flashlight. That way you can control exactly how bright every area is. If you want to draw your eye somewhere, you just paint light in there a little longer. It'll be the brightest part, your eye will be drawn straight to it. If you want a boring background to disappear, don't put any light on it. With this, I'm going to show you how different light sources will produce different results, how you can think about lighting people, because they're special. If they move, they're going to be blurry, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to show you the digital refinements that are essential to creating an amazing looking image. Now, just so you know, you don't have to be Picasso to do light painting. If you can draw a stick figure, you can light paint. So come join me August 25th at creativelive.com for a free class on light painting.
Hi, I'm Sue Bryce.
And I'm Simona Yannick.
And we are coming back to Creative Live
from August 27th to the 31st.
Why do I stand alone?
We've got 2 days of hair and makeup tuition and
3 days of live shooting.
That's 5 whole days packed full of information, and we've also got some amazing giveaways for you.
We look forward to seeing you in Seattle.
When we are the same, when we are the same.
Creative Live, how you guys doing? I gotta tell you what's happening in Seattle. I'm coming back to Creative Live, and this time I'm bringing a friend with me. I'm bringing supermodel Joanna House with me, and together we'll teach a 2-part workshop. I'm teaching photographers the whole industry of fashion and beauty, and working with models, how you cast models, work with models, the whole 9 yards, and a lot more. So join us in Seattle on September the 11th through the 15th. We're teaching you guys some great stuff. I gotta get back to work, so. I hope to see you soon. I'm Matthew Jordan Smith, signing out. All right, I got it all now. See you soon. I'm Matthew Jordan Smith. See you in Seattle.
Hello everyone, I'm Joanna and I'm here to give you an exclusive look into the modeling industry and walk away with legitimate knowledge. At the beginning of my journey, I made a lot of mistakes, and I find that very common amongst up-and-coming models. As I progressed in my career, I was able to learn from these mistakes, develop my skills, and work my way to the top. I'm so excited to be partnering up with Creative Live and celebrity photographer Matthew Jordan Smith. Through the course, I'll be giving you pointers to increase your chances of being discovered and possibly signing with an elite agency. All right, so let me tell you what's going to be happening during this course. On September 11th and the 12th, I will be working single-handedly with each of the models. On the 13th and the 15th, Matthew will be working with young photographers, and I'll be using the models who I've taught and trained to put their skills to the test by working in front of the camera with Matthew and his photographers. All you have to do is log on to creativelive.com. The class is free to watch live online from anywhere in the world. I'm inviting models to submit a video of themselves to be a part of our live studio audience. Make a video telling us why you want to come learn in person and what you hope to get out of the workshop. Models need to be available all 5 days, September 11th through the 15th. Upload the video to Vimeo or YouTube and tweet the link to @CreativeLive with the hashtag YowannaLive. All right, the deadline for the student submissions is August 20th, so hurry up, upload your videos, and I look forward to seeing what you send.
Hi, my name is Lisa Snyder. I'm the author of the Photoshop series of Missing Manuals, and I would like to invite you to join me for a deep dive into Photoshop on September 17th, 18th, and 19th. We'll spend a full day on selections, a full day on adjustment layers, and a full day on smart objects. Whether you've been using the program 10 days or 10 years, you're going to learn a slew of time-saving and practical techniques in this workshop. You can tune in anywhere in the world completely free while the workshop is live. All you have to do is enroll on the course page. So I hope you'll join me September 17th, 18th, and 19th as we dive deep into Photoshop.
Hey friends, it's Kevin Kubota, and I'm going to be with you live on Creative Live, September 20th, 21st, and 22nd and you can watch the whole thing for free for 3 days. All you gotta do is log on and register on Creative Live. Now I'm gonna be talking about location lighting. We're gonna talk about using lightweight, easy to pour around tools like speed lights. Not really studio lighting, but this is location lighting. Things that you probably have in your camera bag or inexpensive equipment you can get and use just about anywhere. I'm gonna pull a lot of great stuff from my latest book, the Lighting Notebook. Then we're gonna take those images, enhance them in Photoshop, do a little post-processing magic, and make them ready to present. So you'll see my entire workflow from shoot to present. Now, if you want to be there live with me in the small, select, hand-picked studio audience, all you got to do is send in a video with why you want to be on Creative Live. Let's put that video on your blog, on Vimeo, maybe on YouTube, and tweet a link to that video, and make sure to send it to @CreativeLive. And put the hashtag KevinLive. I hope to see you there. Don't forget the deadline to get your videos in is August 28th. And we're going to have some fun on Creative Live. So I'll see you there. Let's light it up.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to another event here at Creative Live. My name is Kenna Klosterman, and I'm going to be your co-host today with Ms. Hello, Internet, and welcome to another event here at Creative Live. My name is Kenna Klosterman, and I'm going to be your co-host today with Ms. Susan Roderick. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you today, Kenna?
I'm good. So we are here today with Mr. Ben Wilmore. We're so excited to have you, Ben. And we are doing the Photoshop for Photographers workshop. So Photoshop has a bazillion tools and ways of doing things, and over the next 3 days we're going to focus on you photographers and after Ben's many years of experience and what it is specifically that he uses and you to use every day. So Ben, how are you doing this morning?
All right.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
We're glad to have you here.
So we're going to do about 12 minutes of pre-show banter, and let us know in the chat room if you can see us and hear us. Let us know where you're joining us from, and I don't know, maybe how many years of Photoshop experience that you have, or what type of photographer you are. Sounds good.
That does sound good. And speaking of people watching, we have a beautiful in-studio audience with us here today, and we'd like to introduce them to all of you at home. So why don't we start with you, and we'll just go down the line and just introduce yourself to everyone watching at home.
Okay, my name is Melissa, and I am from Beaverton, Oregon, near Portland. I'm self-taught everything I know about Photoshop, which isn't much, for about the past year or so. My photography company is Pure Whimsy Photography, or Pure Whimsy Photo is my Twitter handle.
G'day, I'm Fran. Originally from Sydney. I've been in Seattle for about 2 months. I work as a photographer. and I'm learning the ropes still, but definitely need to get my head around Photoshop. And my Twitter handle is at Aussie, which is AUZZIE, which would be triple Z for you guys. So.
I'm Michael. I'm born and raised in Seattle, just starting out in the photography business. My Twitter handle is MAWeber24. It's Weber with a 1B.
Hi, I'm Nina Harwick. I am new to Seattle. I typically use Lightroom fairly exclusively, but then I pull into Photoshop. And, you know, always continuing education for Photoshop is great. My website is ninaharwick.com, and that's NINAHARWICK.com. And my Twitter handle is Nina Harwick as well.
Hi, my name is Iris. I'm from Seattle, and I've been using Photoshop since college when they thought that we could learn the whole suite in one semester. So that's the only class I've really taken, and since then I just do my best. And my Twitter handle is at irisdumuk, IRISDUMUK.
Great, thank you very much. Well, me personally, I took a Photoshop class at a community college, and then when I discovered Creative Live, I basically have taken, I don't know, 10 workshops on Photoshop, but I always go back to Lightroom, so it basically never sticks with me at all. So I'm kind of a beginner, even though I'm not, because I don't ever practice. So I'm really excited about Photoshop for photographers, that I don't have to get overwhelmed with so many other ways to do things, and I can just zero in on my photography. So yay.
Absolutely. I'm kind of in the same boat as well. I started with Lightroom and fear Photoshop, and so I get to a certain point in Lightroom, I'm like, well, I could take it to Photoshop, but then I would spend an hour or two and not knowing what I'm doing. And so, yeah, again, really excited to get down to the specifics of what you do for images. And people online are very excited as well, so we're going to shout out some people and tell you where they're joining us from all over the world.
Let's do it. All right, so we have Britt, who is from Nashville, and we have Soupy, who says greetings from Ireland.
We have iShoot9, who is joining us from Kuwait.
Nice.
And D Soto Photography is from Puerto Welcome, David.
C. Harris, hello from Okinawa, Japan. And Karen Harris says, I have zero experience using Lightroom, and I'm likely to purchase this program to get started with Photoshop from Asheville, North Carolina. I think that is a great idea. This is the class you're going to want if you're a photographer and you are just getting started.
A couple more shout outs here. El Nino Photography is from Israel. And we have, let's see, our Takes is from New Orleans.
We have Konstantin, greetings from Ukraine, Kiev. And Peter West Photo says, morning from Oakville. I've been a press photographer since the early 1970s, ran a wet darkroom, now shooting and teaching digital and semi-retired. So welcome, Peter West Photo. I said earlier this is a great class for beginners, but this is also a great class if you've been doing Photoshop for a long time.
So it looks like Lee Veris is in the house.
Lee
Hi,
Veris.
Lee. Lee's coming to learn a few things from his friend Ben today.
Nice.
Let's see. We have people joining us from Oman. We have people from Dubai. We have people from Portugal, Latvia, West Africa,
Brazil,
Italy.
Nice.
Everywhere.
And St. Lucia.
Nice. Susan lived in St. Lucia at age 16.
Beautiful, beautiful island.
It's awesome. So Ben, speaking of living in different places, I understand that you have quite a bit of an interesting lifestyle, and can I say that you are our first homeless wanderer instructor? Mm-hmm. I would love, we have about 6 more minutes, so I would love for people to get to know you as Ben and as a person, and for people who aren't familiar with your lifestyle and your world travels.
All right.
Love to hear your story.
Sure. Well, with me, I was, my profession was a graphic designer. And through that, I learned Photoshop. and I found I hated rush hour traffic, so I would just hang out at work and learn. Happened. I thought I wanted to be a professional photographer, so I was studying all that, and it was always a passion. But I found that when I started teaching Photoshop, I just wanted more images to work with to teach things that I wanted to illustrate. But I lived in Colorado, up in the mountains, and you get the same content all the time, you know, and you just like, okay, sure, I can go to another meadow, I can go to another town, but I wouldn't as much have a big variety. And so one day I went on vacation, did 8 national parks in 10 days, and loved it, and just loved the idea of always going out and having new things to shoot. So I sold my home, and I sold literally 98% of what I own, and I bought a tour bus, the same kind of thing a musician travels in. And this is my 7th year now doing that, and I usually end up going to between 12 and about 30 states a year. You know, if you're in the East Coast, the states are small, so you hit 30, and if you're in the West, they're big, so you hit fewer. And with that, I like to go out and shoot a lot of vintage America. I kind of search that out. I shoot old restored gas stations, movie theaters, go along Route 66, that kind of thing. And also, I like shooting abandoned America, so things that are falling apart and crumbling. And I do also a lot of light painting, where I start with a dark room and light everything with a flashlight. So,
Speaking of light painting.
I got a class right after this one's over, the next day on the 25th, I believe.
Yep.
I'll do a full day class on light painting, and it's my favorite kind of photography in that you can do a very creative thing where you can control exactly how the lighting is done, the brightest areas, the darkest, and all you need is a household flashlight, and you don't need to know how to draw or anything. I can't draw worth anything. I can draw a stick figure, but I can point a flashlight and get pretty good at that. So I'm sure you'll see some images throughout the day which will be light painted, and it's really
We
fun.
are so excited for that class. That's this Saturday, so if you haven't already, go sign up for that class. It has its own course page, but we're even going to do a special night shoot on Friday night.
That's right.
So that is, we're actually starting the class beforehand, and that is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Creative Live in the dark.
After dark.
With light painting.
Yeah,
after
Creative
dark.
Live after dark.
So Jason205 in the chat room, the lounge, is asking you, how do you find new places to shoot?
I do a lot of searching on the internet, you know, going through sites like Flickr and things. You know, if I want to find a vintage gas stations around the country or something, because that's what I'm into, I'll do some searches on Flickr, I'll do them on Google and hit the images link to see what's out there. And there are also some other websites, I'd have to look them up, but one of them might be called waypointing or something similar to that, where you can look it up and it'll show you exactly where things are. And I keep track of the areas that I'd like to shoot on a website called Everplaces, EverPlaces.com. And that's where I can pin the various locations I want. I can put in a photo, I can put in text. Usually I put in, you know, where did I learn about it, and other things like locations very approximate, because sometimes you can't find out the exact address kind of thing.
That is cool.
Yeah, so.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Ken and I are both travelers, so we immediately Googled Everplaces.
Let's crash the site, people, everplaces.com.
And yeah, and other than that, I give a lot of seminars. I mean, up until this year, I've probably taught about 10,000 people a year live like this. Well, not like this where you're on the internet, but you know, like people that are here live. And I always ask constantly. And whenever I'm in various locations, I try to find the locals and chat them up about, you know, what's unique about the area. Another one is an iPhone app called something America. I'll look it up. It's in my list, I think, that I gave you guys.
Oh, great.
We'll find it out. But there's one that tells me all the unusual stuff that is around me and all the abandoned stuff, too.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, one final question before we get started. Where's your favorite place, favorite continent, favorite country, favorite park?
Well, my favorite place, generically, is wherever I'm going next. You know, the things I haven't seen yet, usually my favorites. But places that I really like, I like going to Iceland. I've been to Iceland, I'm guessing maybe 6 times now, going back twice next year, that type of thing. I want to do the South Island of New Zealand. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Want to do India, that kind of thing. But I'm mainly thinking about what I'm going to see in the future. The stuff I've seen in the past is interesting and I like it, but I try not to develop too many favorites because going back to the same place over and over again to me is less interesting than discovering a new place. Yeah.
Good answer.
I know how you feel.
Whenever anyone starts to talk about travel, Susan and my eyes light up.
Yeah.
But I think your tool was always asking the locals. Susan will just walk right up to people and tell us the best spot.
That's where you find it out from.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, everyone, it is 9 o'clock, and so we are ready to get started for our 3-day workshop of Photoshop for Photographers with Ben Wilmore. So I am just going to take you through a few minutes of notes and details. So first of all, we invite you to share your Creative Live classroom with our audience. We have folks watching from literally all over the world, and we want to see you watching Ben's workshop today. Perhaps you've got your computer with Photoshop up and you're following along. Share a photo of you on our Facebook page, and we'll be rotating those out. I'm going to give you a quick tutorial about how to watch today's class, how to ask questions in chat, and how to purchase the course videos. One place to watch Creative Live, and that is creativelive.com/live. However, you don't have to just be at home. You can take Creative Live with you on the go on your iPhone, iPad, Android device. We've seen a lot of pictures of people watching in their backyard, enjoying the summer, enjoying some iced tea while watching Creative Live. So if you are looking to have a lower resolution because of your internet speed, you don't have to go to a separate spot. All you got to do is look down at the bottom of the screen there. There's a best button. You hover over that and you choose the resolution that works best for you based on your internet speed at the time. So you can manually control that on that same creativelive.com/live page. We love your questions. That is what makes Creative Live what it is. Yes, we've got these wonderful 5 people here in person that are representing you, but Susan and I are here to pass along your questions to Ben here in real time. And the way that we do that is we ask you to open up another browser and creativelive.com/chat to join our chat rooms. We have 3 different tabs. The first one is the Creative Live tab, and we ask you to have your on-topic conversations. So this is a great way to not only ask Ben questions, which we'll show you the next tab for, but to ask each other questions. There's such an amazing, the brain power of the Creative Live community combined, that's intense. So share with each other. And the second tab is where you ask questions for Ben directly. So just drop in your questions, let us know where you're joining us from so we can shout that out. And that makes it really easy for Susan and I and the folks who are our chat moderators behind the scenes to pick out your questions and pass them along. And finally, there is the Creative Lounge. What's up, loungers? Happy to see you today. And this is the chat room for you to talk about whatever you like that is off topic. In addition to the chat room, we also take your questions via Facebook. Give us a like there if you haven't already. We are over 30,000 strong on Facebook, but we know there are many, many more of you out there. So please give us a like. And we're also taking questions with the hashtag BenLive on Twitter. The way that Creative Live works is we put on these live events. This is a 3-day live event for free. We try to reach as many people as possible around the world that may not have access to this type and this level of education. And the way that that works is those of you who essentially try before you buy, you watch the workshop, you realize what amazing value it is and that you are going to need this in the future to rewatch. You purchase the course, and then you get to own all the video downloads. I'll show you in a second, but they're broken down into easy digestible pieces that you can reference exactly what you're looking for. You can download those files, or you can stream it online, and you have that that you own. And the way that that works is this course is $99 for all 3 days. However, when you purchase it during the workshop, it is only $79, and there is a huge special bonus that I will show you in a second when you purchase this course. So let's take a look at the course page. Down on the bottom left, you see where you can enroll for the course. When you enroll, you get a lot of the reminder emails. We rewatch these workshops for folks who are watching in a different time zone. So at the end of, just soon after this workshop, usually within half an hour or an hour, the rewatch is starting again. So enroll so you can know about those. And next to that is where you can purchase this course. It's very easy. It's $79 right now. And again, special bonus I will show you in a second. So the way that Creative Live grows and the way that we grow that incredible community is through all of you who spread the word via social media. So let your photographer friends know that this workshop is happening right now over these 3 days for free. Because again, after that, they won't be able to watch it for free. But now is the time, so spread the word. Okay, scroll down the screen. The special surprise that I was talking about is included with this workshop. When you purchase the course, you get a set of Ben's actions. And this is no small thing. We counted up yesterday how many actions there are, Photoshop actions, and it's over 50. And these are things that these are his tools that he's developed, that he uses every day. And this is incredible. You're in the process, Ben, of creating a product that is your action pack. However, this product is not on the market today. It's still in development. There's nowhere else to get this, Ben's actions, than purchasing this workshop. So that alone, I was asking you yesterday, when you launch that product, it's probably be around a $129 product. You get it included for free with your $79 workshop of how to use all of those forever and ever. So if you know you're going to purchase the class, just go ahead and take care of that right now. Highly recommend it. Sold. But you can download the action pack and be using that throughout. It's an action pack sampler, and use that throughout this workshop. So good reason to go ahead and purchase now. So here are the videos that you will, when you purchase the class, we turn those around as quickly as possible. Later today or by tomorrow morning, you can already start downloading the videos. We have a ton of wonderful prizes to give away, and the way you enter our Twitter contest is to pick out your favorite Ben Wilmore quote or tip. There will be so many tips, no doubt. And follow Ben on @WhereIsBen, and you just need to include the URL for the course page in your tweet. That is how we search to find them. So tweet to win. Creative Live, as you have seen, we have had many, many, many more workshops this half of the year so far than ever in the past. And we need your help. We need more people as we grow our team. This is an amazing, amazing team to work with, and we are looking for people who are here in Seattle that are web development professionals, technical director, broadcast utility. Head over to the creativelive.com/jobs page. If these are not people that are job descriptions that you think are relevant to you, but you know people here in Seattle that you can see here at Creative Live, please send them our way. All right, well, that's all I have this morning. Ben, over to you, and let's get this Photoshop party started.
Sounds good. Well, we got 3 days, and today what I thought we would do is concentrate on adjustments. So that means we're going to start off with things where we'll adjust the entirety of an image, where you don't have to work on small isolated areas, and then we'll progress into things where we're isolating little areas to fine-tune. But that's the concentration in today's adjustments. When it comes to tomorrow, we'll get into more like retouching, and we'll cover all the retouching tools and, more importantly, how they all work